This is Phil Little on the Private Investigator Experience podcast with an investigative update. Part of our mission is not only on the life and cases of a PI, but also to do deep dive investigations into current events that will affect us in our communities. Remember, all the experts, including the FBI, point to not if, but when we will have another 9/11 type attack. It will probably be worse. This is not to create fear, but hopefully encourage you to do your own investigation to find out the status of the security in your own community. Find out the efforts that are in place or people who are trying to create things that will expose you. Some of these things to look for is your official supporting a closed border with official immigration being allowed only. Is your prosecutors filing charges against all types of crimes, not just the ones they support? Is your local judges releasing people with crimes without bail? Is your local school board protecting your children from attacks through books and other materials that reveal sexual and gender misinformation? These are just a few of the areas you can get involved in to help protect your children and keep your streets safe. Then are you keeping up with the events in the Middle East and investigating how these events can affect you and your home community? Remember, if Israel is to fall to the attacks of Iran and their proxies, they will be coming for us next. This is a very critical time for Israel and us. I look at the world through my biblical worldview, and with that I have the last chapter of Revelations in the Bible. That gives me a glimpse into God's plan for the end times and how he's going to protect those of us who know him as Lord and Savior. God has a history of protecting his people, Israel. If you look at the just past couple of weeks, we can see how God guided his people and how he used their creative abilities, coupled with the favor of God, to defeat their enemies. Look at how they used their creative preemptive strike at Hezbollah to deter their attacks on Israel with the onslaught that they had planned. Was this all man's wisdom and intelligence that caused them to plan out the infiltration of the communication system and to take out so many of the Hezbollah terrorists? What was the secondary result of all this action? The Israelis were able to track through these beepers and other communication technology where the weapons and missiles were stored. And after the beeper attacks, they were able to do preemptive strikes on these locations that, as of today, 9/24/24, they've eliminated over 50% of the large weapon storage that Hezbollah has, and they're continuing to attack even now. So my concern is not that God will protect Israel and we, his people who know him, but the danger is how quiet the church is and those who want to have a free country and the free speech and freedoms that our Constitution gave us. I think too many of us just expect God to protect us and we can live our lives and all the things we need to do to take care of our families and survive in a messed up world. When you look at how God works, though, we find that his desire is for us to help him, do our part, and then when our part ends, he'll take over to deliver this message of hope and stand against evil that is all around us. We're just too busy to get involved, is the truth of the matter. Well, we can look at recent history. The German church, which was silent when Hitler was taking out the Jews. And to ancient times, God's people let pagan worship come into societies, and God left them to their own evil ways, which brought destruction. Look around us, folks. Look at what's going on in our societies. And they attacked on every part of life. And particularly they're after our young children now, which is going full force and will continue on unless we put a stop to it. The goal of the radical left is to embarrass and threaten us into silence. If we, the majority in America, don't come out of the shadows and stand against this evil that is eating away at our society, the result of that will be the loss of all our freedoms. This November 5th election will let us know where our country is headed. It will either be a comeback, taking back our country from the pagan influence or the continued slide at an increased pace to the destruction of our country and our freedoms. So which is it going to be? A comeback to go back to our founding fathers' intents, or us to slide further into paganism? As you think about who to vote for, think about who's the best candidate that would bring our country back towards the country of our founding fathers. Then vote. And if you're not registered to vote, get out there and register today. Would you step out of the crowd and stand with us? This would be a good time to think about what President John Kennedy said. Ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. And this is a time, this very season and time, that God is calling out freedom-loving people to stand up and let their voices be heard. Will you pray for our country and for Israel as it stands against its enemies? Will you step out of the crowd and get involved? Not be silenced by all of the attacks of those from the radical left and others that would say, you have no place in this, just be quiet, we'll take care of you. Will you help me by liking, sharing, subscribing, and you know the drill, hit that notification bell for future posts. Until next time, be safe, and may God bless you, your family,